people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. This quote from national hero Marcus Mosiah Garvey is a timely reminder as we observe World Heritage Day today. In keeping with the day, we take a historical journey to the Jamaica National Heritage Trust. Also, we review last week's major happenings at the Office of the Prime Minister. Stay with us for this and so much more as we turn the pages of today's Jamaica Magazine.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica. Original.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, April 18. Recently announced changes to the property tax rates are now in effect for fiscal year 2017-2018. Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ says revised assessments based on the reduced rates are not yet available on its website or at tax offices, but assures that its systems are being adjusted to reflect the changes. In the meantime, persons who object to their property valuations or who are finding it difficult to pay can find details of the various relief options in a special information hub on the TAJ website at jamaicatax.gov.jm. During a statement to Parliament last week, Finance Minister Audley Shaw announced lowered rates of between 0.5 and 0.9% on properties worth more than $400,000. There's a flat $1,000 tax on properties valued up to that amount. The tax rates are applied on the 2013 valuation roll. The National Security Ministry has refurbished the Gale Police Station and the Rockabessa Police Barracks in St. Mary at a cost of $8.3 million. Portfolio Minister Robert Montego officially handed over the upgraded facilities recently. He says at least 15 more stations are receiving a facelift as his ministry seeks to improve the working conditions of policemen and women. A new police headquarters will also be established in Port Maria. Meanwhile, 200 pre-owned vehicles are to arrive in June to boost the mobility of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Changes have been made to the customs tariff regime, which will enable ground transportation operators in the tourism sector to diversify, upgrade, and replenish their fleets. This was disclosed by Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett during his recent sectoral presentation. Changes include an increase in the upper cost insurance and freight CIF value on motor cars for rental and contract carriage operators from $35,000 to $41,000. The current cubic centimeter CC rate restrictions for these operators will remain unchanged. Meanwhile, tour operators who qualify for the Productive Input Relief Incentive will also see an increase in the upper CIF value allowed for motor cars, moving from $35,000 to $50,000. Minister Bartlett adds that the total number of cars on which tour operators are allowed concession will increase from 20 to 40.
These are game-changing arrangements, and that, Mr. Speaker, that we have brought in to ensure that the capacity for us to deliver and to produce is at the highest level.
The new owners of the Alpart bauxite plant in St. Elizabeth will be moving ahead with plans to produce new aluminum products once the plant is upgraded. Transport and Mining Minister Mike Henry says Jiquan Iron and Steel Company JISCO has provided the feasibility study report for the improved plant, which will produce aluminum products driven by current energy sources.
This is now to produce certain things around the whole aspect, using the same energy mix. And this was brought to me by the chairman as the new thrust. In fact, it's 18,000 tons of aluminum foil to be projected by that.
Minister Henry was making his contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament last week. He said the plans to develop aluminum foil at Alpart would result in further expansion and employment in this sector. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, will be engaging in 2 separate pilot studies testing the use of liquefied natural gas and compressed natural gas alongside diesel oil for operating the public bus service.
There's a proposal that is virtually ready for signing.
The pilot forms part of a cost-saving and emissions control initiative at the publicly owned bus company. It's expected to result in projected fuel savings of 25%, as well as the removal of black soot from the vehicle emissions.
This is to be rolled out under the JUT stewardship at Montego Bay Metro Bus Company in the second city through a bus and fuel supply platform, along with technical guidance from New Fortress Energy.
If successful, the project will see the entire public bus service gradually switching to the more efficient and environmentally friendly fuel sources. And finally, effective this Thursday, April 20, the JUTC's dedicated bus lane from Spanish Town to Kingston will be discontinued. This is due to the improvement work taking place on Mandela Highway. The change means all JUTC buses out of Spanish Town will traverse the regular lanes. The bus company says the number of cycle trips during the morning commute will be reduced due to the expected increase in travel time. Commuters are advised to expect longer than normal delays and are encouraged to plan their morning commute with this in mind. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
Last week was an eventful one at Jamaica House. We now bring you the highlights.
Parliament passes amendments to Defence Act. Prime Minister calls for safe road usage, and Jamaica is in implementation mode for the Paris Agreement. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Prime Minister Andrew Holness urged vigilance on the nation's roads during the Easter holiday season. On Thursday, the National Road Safety Council chairman said particular attention must be given to vulnerable road users. Mr. Holness said since the start of the year, speeding and pedestrian error are the main contributors to road traffic fatalities, with 28 pedestrian deaths, 28 motorcyclists, while 15 are drivers of private motor vehicles. Cabinet last week appointed 7 members to serve on the Generation Procurement Entity GPE. The body replaces the Energy Sector Enterprise team and is headed by Professor Alvin Wint. Other members are Helene Davis-White, Dr. Wayne Henry, William Mafood, Paul B. Scott, Rosemary Pilliner, and the Director of Electricity Generation Procurement, Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology. The GPE, which reports to Cabinet, will be responsible for managing the replacement and procurement of electricity generation capacity. Earlier in the week, Prime Minister Andrew Holness welcomed the lower house's passage of amendments to the Defence Act, paving the way for the establishment of a National Service Corps. Contributing to the debate, Mr. Holness said the National Service Corps will become the enlistment route for the Army.
You spend 1 year within the Corps, and then after that, you can choose whether or not you will sign a longer-term contract with the Army. Those who choose not to go on in the Army become available to the wider society. It would be a good recruiting ground for the police, for the various emergency services, security companies. So it creates a pool of trained labor of a fairly high standard for the rest of the society to absorb.
And on Tuesday, Mr. Holness dispatched the State Minister in the Ministry of National Security to represent him at the launch of the 145th anniversary of Kingston becoming the capital of Jamaica. In other Jamaica House Weekly news,
all our partners and stakeholders will be further engaged and embraced to ensure that we fulfill our obligations under the Paris Agreement. We are now in implementation mode.
Minister with responsibility for the environment, Daryl Vaz, announcing Jamaica's ratification of the Paris Agreement. The ratification document was signed on March 30 this year. He was speaking at the start of a 3-day climate change symposium last week. The Paris Agreement provides a global roadmap for actions that will reduce emission and build climate resilience. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next time for more of the news coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
World Heritage Day is being celebrated today under the theme Cultural Heritage and Sustainable Tourism. Let's now take a look at aspects of our history which have been preserved by the Jamaica National Heritage Trust.
The Jamaica National Heritage Trust is more than just a building that houses artifacts. It's a symbol of our post- and pre-independence period. Also known as Headquarters House, the JNHT is just one of many buildings that tell the story of our rich history. It got the name because it was once the military headquarters of the War Office in 1814. The building was constructed in 1755 and was home of Thomas Hibbert. On November 12 that same year, the Legislative Assembly met there while Hibbert was acting as Speaker. It later became the seat of government and the office of the Colonial Secretariat from 1872 to 1960.
The government of the day in 1872 decided to move the capital from Spanish Town into Kingston. This became the center of governance. This is where the Legislative Council used to sit. And after 1944, this is where the beginning of governance by the Jamaican people, elected through universal adult suffrage, became the seat of governance. After 1944, we had a number of other constitutions which led us to self-government and ultimately to independence in 1962. So it was in this room that Bustamante and Manley and other great luminaries of the legislative period of governance from 1944 used to persuade their party members to vote in their favor. And as a result of a combined effort, we agreed to become independent, and we negotiated with Britain for the purposes of independence on June the 6th, 1962.
The size of the chamber would suggest that the number of government officials were few.
As a result of independence in 1962, the government also decided that they needed a new building to hold a larger parliament, and that's why Gordon House was created next door. So that's the joining relationship between this Legislative Council building, which is now the headquarters of the Jamaica National Heritage Trust, and Gordon House next door, in which our parliament sits. It's a very exciting corner of Jamaica, a very exciting corner of Kingston. And of course, the political parties today, when they march to Gordon House, one party moves from Headquarters House, as it is still known as, and the other party moves from the northern side of Duke Street and comes together in the Parliament. The cabinet room, or the room in which the government ministers sat, is upstairs, is in fact the boardroom of the trustees of the Jamaica National Heritage Trust. Today, the building is used for a variety of different purposes, which include the storage of artifacts, as well as the various departments of the Jamaica National Heritage Trust. So it continues to be a very important building of history and heritage for our people. The fact that it was built in 1755 means that over these last 250 plus years, it has been subject to all sorts of natural disasters, including a fire next door which nearly took it down. So hurricanes, earthquakes, floods, and other natural disasters, this building has been able to survive them all.
Did you know that it was from this building on October 12, 1865, that Governor Edward John Eyre planned his attack against the St. Thomas freedom fighters? He declared martial law from this house on Friday, October 13. And it was also here that the Right Excellent George William Gordon was arrested in 1865 and taken to Murat Bay, where he was executed.
Let's celebrate Jamaica to the world. Fastest man in the world. First Jamaican woman to win gold in Olympic 100-meter sprint. An upcoming global superstar. Mouth-watering meals. And a vibrant set of people. We are Jamaicans. Let's get together and bring back the love.
We now take a look at a program which offers hope for adults who for some reason or another missed out on the opportunity of an education in their early years.
Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world, said Nelson Mandela. This quote rings true for many Jamaicans who have been given a new lease on life through the work of the Jamaican Foundation for Lifelong Learning, JFLL. Formerly known as JAML, JFLL was established in 1974 for one major purpose.
The opportunity of providing a second chance to adult learners to be able to, one, be just to read your Bible, come to us. If it is that you want to have a better job, if you want to transition to post-secondary education, we are the place for that.
Fortunately, that objective is being realized in the lives of many adults, with Jamaica's adult literacy rate in 2016 being 87%. At the institution's inaugural Power Breakfast in September 2016, Jamaicans were exposed to the stories of two adults who have realized their full potential through the work of the Jamaican Foundation for Lifelong Learning. Meet 59-year-old Raphael Young.
I am thankful for this program, JFLL. It has changed my life and developed my reading skill so that I can read. When I heard of the program were coming to my community, I was very glad and I welcome the program. I made an assessment. When I joined the class, I was in grade 1 with a workbook named A Day with the Sharp, a first reader for adult published by Jamal Foundation. When I did my numeracy test, I end level 1 and in level 2 and take the test again and end level 2 and in level 3 and further on. The class allow me now to able to read the star so that I can read the good and bad news.
Raphael, a proud graduate of the program. It's good news also for the stakeholders at a time when the institution is entering more adult learners in the CSEC external examinations.
People told us that we could not take learners who couldn't read and write and get them up to CSEC level and let them pass CSEC subjects in 2 years. They were absolutely wrong. This year, we had about 167 learners across our network, who most came to us reading as our grade 2 child would have read. And we worked with them. And 47 of those learners decided to sit 5 subjects straight. And right now we're getting in the results. We have so far 15 of the 47 who have completed and passed 5 subjects.
Among the bright students, 47-year-old grandmother Veronica Robinson Malcolm.
My educational ambition got disrupted when I got pregnant at a tender age of 15 years old. I dropped out of regular school at grade 10. In spite of that setback, I was determined to further my education. I heard about the JFLL program by way of a JS program. I took up the pleasure of applying there, which I was enrolled, and now I have 5 CXC subjects, 6 JSE subjects. Thanks. My children have all grown. I am now a proud grandmother of 4. The experience of JFLL was phenomenal. The interaction as a student, president of the student council, the teachers, the administrative body, and the clerical staff. Honestly, I can't tell you how good it was. I am a true example of this old saying, you are never too old to learn.
Never too old to learn, a sentiment advocated by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information.
That is a message that we want to get out there. Because we want every adult to not only be fully literate, but to be trained and certified at the highest level. It helps very often with the education system in terms of the generation. The more parents are educated, the more their children also are educated. It works. All adults I'd love in Jamaica to make lifelong learning a culture.
As JFLL continues to modernize, the way ahead is clear.
We will be intensifying our effort to identify and secure strategic partnerships to support JFLL's mandates. Target areas with high pockets that are in need of remedial support to guide program expansion, to interface with the Ministry of Education and other ministries, departments and agencies, international development partners, and the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning to further our reach into these areas.
So, if you're an adult looking for a second chance at learning, forget the naysayers, embrace the change.
A lot of people try to discourage me, say I'm too old to go to the school. There are many voices, including the voice of your family member and friend, with some negative word that will lead you astray. But don't listen to those voices. Don't give up just because of what someone said. Use that as a motivation to push harder.
For further information on the programs offered by the Jamaican Foundation for Lifelong Learning, visit their website at jfll.gov.jm or call 928-5181.
This brings us to the end of another Jamaica magazine. Do stay connected with us on our various social media platforms and check out our website at jis.gov.jm for updates on happenings in Jamaica. I'm Audrey Williams. See you next time.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.